Welcome to the Social University podcast. We are so glad you're joining us today because we want to help business owners, entrepreneurs, and people just like you who want to build their business online. Listen, if we can do it, you can do it. So let's go.
Good morning. I'm Karen Taradas with Social U, and it is time for What's Up Wednesday, where we come to you once a week. Wednesdays once a week at 10 o'clock a.m. Central, so we can talk about social media tips, tricks, and trends. And this month is all about, it's Women's Month. So we're talking about women. Today we are talking about imposter syndrome, from imposter syndrome to influence, how women gain confidence in their own space, because actually imposter syndrome is a little bit more common in women than it is in men, although anyone can be affected by it. If you want to dive deep, there is a book, Imposter Syndrome Expert. There's a book by Valerie Young, who is an imposter syndrome expert, and we can put the link in the notes when we're done so that you can see. But let's just kind of talk about it first. One of the first things in dealing, just in case you don't know, imposter syndrome is when you feel like you don't belong there. And one of the first things is you have to recognize that that's what's happening. It tends to be a lack of self-confidence, sensitivity to very small mistakes, fear of success or failure, and then burnout from trying to fit in. I will be the first person to tell you I have had imposter syndrome. I have had it more than once in my life, twice that it was undeniable. And I have the benefit and privilege of being around a lot of accomplished people in business. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've been in rooms or groups or meetings where I look around and think, how in the world did I get in here? It's real. Everybody has it. Just let's figure out kind of how to deal with it. First and foremost, there's 5 types of imposter syndrome. You have the perfectionist, which is the person whose primary focus is on how something is done instead of the overall outcome. So despite receiving praise, you still feel like, oh, I could have done that better. The expert, which is when someone is more concerned about the what and the how much they can do, and they may suffer from that expert mindset. So in that scenario, you would have like a minor lack of knowledge, but it creates this massive feeling of failure or shame. The natural genius is the third type. This type of person measures their competence by speed and ease. When you feel like this, you equate not understanding a subject or performing a skill successfully on the first try with failure. That might be my category. I'm not saying that it is, but it might be. The soloist is when they focus more on who carries out the task. This type of imposter believes that they have to be the one to do everything on their own. If you fall into this type, you might believe that asking for help or needing assistance is a sign of weakness. It is not. And the superhuman describes someone who measures their success by how many roles they can both juggle and master. And in this mindset, you end up falling short in any role versus being strong in a single role. You're taking on too much. So understanding that you're experiencing it is the only way. Admission is the first step to recovery. It's the only way to get better. So now that you understand, and I'm sure most everybody understands what imposter syndrome is, okay, how do we deal with that? How do we fix it? First and foremost, in the recognizing it stage, you have there's a sense that belongings, it fosters a sense of confidence. Belonging fosters a sense of confidence. So a lot of times that looks like you feel like you got lucky when actually you worked really hard to be where you are. You find it difficult to accept praise. You apologize for yourself in the workplace. I would tell you, if you are a person who, and I do it, my team's guilty of doing it. I went through an entire period of my life where I apologized for things that were beyond my control. I am very much a recovering apologizer. How Women Can Succeed in the Workplace Despite Having a Female Brain by Valerie Alexander is a huge benefit. That's a little short book. It's a fast, easy read. And one of the things she addresses is stop apologizing for things that are without of your control. A lot of people who suffer from imposter syndrome, they hold themselves to an impossible standard that they would never expect for anybody else. There's a paralyzing fear of failure. You avoid expressing your confidence because you think people will see it as, obnoxious, over, too much. And as someone who's had those bosses that were very into themselves, I am very aware of that. And I try to be extremely extremely self-aware, so I tend to pull away from that myself. You're convinced you're not enough. You downplay your skills or your abilities. You seek constant feedback. You constantly compare yourself to others. These are some of the symptoms, so you can kind of recognize that you're having an issue. So overcoming it, there's multiple ways to overcome it, but there's also steps. The first step, again, admission is the first step to recovery. You have to own it. You have to express those feelings of shame. You have to talk to somebody about it. And that might, who would you talk to? Well, it might be a friend, a colleague, a coworker, but find someone you trust and discuss it with them, because that's one of the easiest ways to get past it. A lot of times they will give you perspective that you lack in order to function better. I mean, that's just the way it is. You want to separate your feelings from fact, because just because you feel dumb doesn't mean you are dumb. Just because you feel like there's a knowledge gap doesn't mean there is one. And it's different for different people. I might feel like what's a good example? Let's say Instagram is my least knowledgeable platform. I know a ton about it, but because I feel like I don't know as much about it as I do about LinkedIn, I might set myself up for failure that way. And that's not really the case at all. That's not a fact at all. I know what I'm doing. The fact that I can't answer a single question doesn't make me any less of an expert. It means I don't know the answer to one question. So give yourself some grace and understand that you're not alone. This is one of my favorite quotes. I have written 11 books. Each time I think, they're going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody and they're going to find me out. That is a quote from author, poet, singer, dancer, actress, composer, director, 3-time Grammy Award winner, National Medal of Arts winner of the Presidential Medal of Freedom and Civil Rights activist, Maya Angelou. So it does, in fact, happen to everyone. You are not unique. You are not alone at all. Another good way to help with that is to find a mentor. We talked about mentors last week. I highly recommend it. It's a great way to really help yourself, because it gives you somebody who's already has your best interests at heart, who can help you and share their knowledge and wisdom to help support you in your decisions. You can look for somebody in your field for practical advice and support. It might be a senior leader in your team or senior leader in your industry. If you are local to Alabama, you have the ability to reach out and contact Momentum Leadership. They have a free leadership program, mentoring program. You can be a mentor, you can be a mentee, but I love the program. It's excellent. You want to learn from your team members, folks that you work with on the daily. The next time you feel tempted to compare yourself to your peers, take a step back and see what you can learn from them instead. Not everybody's good at everything, and that's okay. If you have a gap and you need assistance, get somebody to show you who's better at it than you are. That's totally all right. It creates an opportunity for you to grow and succeed in your role, and them too. You want to focus on the positive. Mistakes definitely happen. You need to forgive yourself and hold on to those compliments. I know that's hard. That's hard. That's hard for me to do too. So that whole be kind to yourself, I didn't really put that in perspective. I have a tendency to, my internal dialogue when I am talking to myself is not nice a lot of times. And I didn't realize that until I had someone pointed out to me, would you talk to your child that way? God, no. Well, then why are you talking to yourself that way? If you were the child, if you were the little kid in the situation, would you speak like that? No. So try to bear that. Would I say this same kind of, would I phrase it this way? Would I have this tone? Would I be this difficult on someone who is new in the field or someone who's in their teens or even, in elementary school? If the answer is no, then don't talk to yourself that way. You want to be aware of that internal dialogue so that you can kind of counteract it. So positive affirmations, again, holding on to the compliments, that works. And instead of going in, oh my gosh, everyone here knows more than I do, I don't belong here, you can shift that to everyone here is brilliant and I'm going to learn a lot. That is that's a point that was made by one of my favorite authors, Jen Sincero. She wrote You Are a Badass, one of my favorite books of all time. A lot of it comes down to how you frame it mentally and how you push back on yourself. So if you realize that you're having an issue, one of the best things you can do after you acknowledge that you're having the problem is to look for the opportunity, because that will reframe it in your head and get you out of your own way. It's a lot easier to do it that way. Visualize success and celebrate achievements. Focus on your strengths. Collect a folder of happy things about you. We have a bunch of testimonials because I am the founder and CEO of our company. A lot of them have my name in them. And if you're feeling bad, go check those out. Read those. Fake it till you make it. It's totally okay to do it before it's perfect. I was having a talk with a perfectionist this morning. Don't get in your own way. It's okay to put yourself out there before you feel like the absolute expert on the topic. It's okay. Courage comes from taking those risks. Change that behavior first, and the confidence will come. And then, of course, if you really are struggling, if it gives you anxiety, if it causes you stress, seek professional assistance. Therapists are awesome. I think everybody should be in therapy. It's incredibly helpful, regardless of what you're facing in your work life or your personal life, to have someone who has your best interest at heart, who can share that information with you and give you feedback from a different perspective. A lot of times, all it takes is seeing it from a different direction. That is it for me today. We are going to be back next week. I think next week starts April, and we have a whole new category of information for April. We're going to be spring cleaning, most likely website, social media. So I will give you information on how to go in and review your accounts and your content. And then May is Mental Health Month. We're going to talk about balance and stepping away from the keyboard and that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for joining me this morning. Again, I'm Karen Terradas with Social U. And until next week, I'm here to help. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for the Social University podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at Stay Social You. That's the letter U. And we will talk to you next week. Remember, you've got this.